This house had a series of sad events. First of all, I start breaking up with my family. I get COVID. Christine leaves. This is where I got the news of Garrison's passing. This place has pain.
At times, I wonder whether Kody actually watches his own show or whether he just says things just because he wants to see his mouth move and see himself on camera. Because the audacity to make himself victim of the situation that has taken place in his family over the past couple of years doesn't make sense. He prioritized his favorite wife and left the OG3 and their children alone. So the fact that he's saying he has to move house because, he's received all this terrible news in this house, he didn't get to spend Christmas with the family. He knew he didn't want them, and now he's getting to live out his dream. And Robyn, if there's anyone who has gone from rags to riches, then Robyn is the poster child, because the house she lived in, as compared to the house that she now lives in, after marrying this man with his wives and leaving the other wives behind, she is the one who's benefited the most from the downfall of this family. Here for Mary and her friends, I've always said that they bring out a side of her that we didn't get to see during the many seasons that we've watched of her. And so I'm happy for this. And Christine, oh, poor Christine. I love that David supports his wife, though. I really do, because whatever's going on with her, he is always there to support and cheer her on. So she did very well. She's someone as well who was able to rebound. And I hope the other OG2 are able to get the same happily ever after story. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Sister Wives, Season 20, Episode 3. So we pick up from Kody and Tony. They're still obviously driving on their way to North Carolina. They're stuck in the tornado. And eventually they had to park on the side of the road because it was becoming too heavy and it was sort of cracking their windshield, which was becoming more dangerous. I know David, they said, was telling them to just drive through it. So I'm happy that they did. It was a 50-50 because stopping there could have, ended up being them stranded there. At the same time, maybe it was safer since the windscreen was starting to crack. There was a risk that they were going to injure their children, so I'm happy that they were able to do that. We have Mary talking about her date with Ron. She likes him. I said it last week and I'll say it again. She likes him very much. And hopefully he's got in touch with her. I think there was hope. As long as he wasn't a plant put in by production, I think I could see him being her partner. So I love that for her. She said she's having a painting with friends. And Jenny was trying to Jen was trying to suss out to see what was going on, whether Mary was still open to dating. And she says she really wants someone who's kind, someone who's a cheerleader, someone who's 6 foot tall, but she's not going to turn down somebody just because he's not 6 foot. I love it. So you had all her friends come in for the painting date. I love it for her. I really do. And they were able to have drinks and paint. They started talking about eggplants. So they decided to paint eggplants, and it's just like, oh my God. You had the other wives be asked about, emojis and whatever. And Janelle was saying her children at times have to tell her mom, don't do that. That's not appropriate. Whereas Robyn was trying to play the innocent, naive victim. And it's like, please, sit down. You have, Christine and David still driving. They're talking about the family and how, they are going to miss her children that have left. David was sort of speaking about trying to sort of catch the tornado and he's going to go tornado chasing. He seems like an adrenaline junkie. He seems like he wants to do things that at times make Christine uncomfortable. Part of him, I can see Kody's tendencies in him, but he is more refined as compared to Kody's fly by the seat of your pants guy, whereas David seems like he's more researched and more knowledgeable before he takes on any adventures. So I love that for them. Robyn and Kody were packing their house. They tried to make it seem like they're trusting their faith. They already had made an offer on that house. Their offer had been accepted. I'm not going to buy the nonsense that they're saying, because they spoke last week and they were saying that they're thinking of selling their house because they want to start afresh. This house has really brought them a lot of bad news, so they want to turn a new leaf and hopefully move on. I feel like they only sold that house. I said this last week, I'll say this again. I have a feeling they sold the house because they didn't want Mary and Janelle to come after them. So they sold the house so that they could pull out Janelle and Mary's funds and give it to them, because they knew that the lawyers were coming for them and they didn't want to be forced into selling the house. This is why they sold it, so that they could make a profit without, the courts just saying, okay, you're selling it and whatever. Anyway, so they say they found a house The house looks massive. It really does. They have their sort of agent come through and say they are going to sell their house for cash. Robyn and Kody are excited. And for me, Robyn has really done very well for herself and her children at the end of the day, because the house she lived in, as compared to the house she's moving into, when we first met her, is day and night. She is the one who's benefited the most from being with Kody than anybody else. And so the audacity and the idea that they're holding on to Coyote Pass is just them being selfish. They're just being selfish. And personally, I don't see anything fancy about the new house that they bought. I'm just going to say that. There was this clash about a table with Robyn saying, she didn't want the dining table to come with them. Kody said he wanted the dining table to go with them. He said, Robyn has always made him feel a part of every decision that they've made, whereas the OG3 had the freedom to make whatever choices. That's because he didn't love them and he didn't want to sort of what do I say? He didn't want them to sort of have anything over him, or he didn't want that security of being invested. And this is why he allowed them to make whatever decisions they wanted. He wasn't invested. He just knew that at any time he could up and leave until he found what he wanted. And once he found it, this is why he's decided to become involved in decision making with Robyn. He said, Robyn gave me an office. The other three could have given me an office. Mary could have given him an office, could have given him the whole house. He would never have gone there. So please take several seats. We're not buying whatever nonsense you're trying to sell. They were asked, how do you feel moving on your own without the rest of the family? They looked at each other and smiled, and I just thought, side-eye. They did speak about Truly, saying Truly will be able to have her own space and my other children will be able to come and visit. Kody, do you think we're kids? You're not dealing with a bunch of kids. You're dealing with adults. Please take several seats. Anyway, we catch up with Mary and her friends and their painting thing. Mary's friend is very messy because she painted Kody and the gap in his hair, and then she painted a bird, which to me is Robyn, and then she painted an eggplant, and it's just like, oh my god. Mary's friends will Kody started there by calling them those bees over there, and now they're coming for him, and there's nothing he can say or do because he opened the door and they are just stepping in. You have the OG wife say, Kody has always wanted to move, so they're not surprised that they're moving. You have Christine saying, come to think of it, after all the bad news is received in the home, it makes sense that you'd want to move. Cody said he wanted to move his family to leave because, he's received bad news in this house. This is where he received the bad news about, Christine leaving, about his marriages breaking up, about his son passing away. And it's like, Kody, you're not a victim. You really are not a victim. It's you are responsible for the choices that you made that allowed you to get to this space. During this conversation, Christine is asked, she says, I understand them selling the house, but why have they not sold Coyote Pass? And personally, I feel like they haven't sold Coyote Pass because they want to be selfish. They're trying to hold Janelle and Mary hostage without holding them hostage. They're hoping that if they can frustrate Janelle and Mary as much as possible, then they will leave that house to them. And this is why they're continuing to hold on to it. The fact that Kody said, we weren't really concerned about selling Coyote Pass until we found our new home. They only thought of selling Coyote Pass because they needed the money to fund their new home. That's the reason why, in my opinion. They didn't sell Coyote Pass because they wanted to sell it. They sold Coyote Pass because they needed money for their new home. And then you had this dialogue with Christine. I don't know whether Christine was trying to squeeze in the word chess as much as possible as promotion, or whether as criticism of the fact that, McKelty apparently, when she married Tony, it was agreed that she would be working and he would stay at home with the kids. So now they're moving to North Carolina to support his career because he wants to be a chess master, and he's managed to, to create a family, a community there, it seems, or he's employed people. So he feels like this is where his business could sort of progress, and he could continue to support the family at the same time. And she said, everybody wants her to move to North Carolina. She doesn't see the appeal. So she is going to stay in Utah because that's the place for her. And it's like, good for you. If this is what you want, amazing. We're not going to hold you back. You then had Maddie reveal that she was pregnant. This is her fourth child. I would assume she's had the child by now. everyone was excited. Everyone was excited. Obviously, Janelle was saying Maddie had said she didn't want to tell anyone and she was going to keep quiet about it for a bit. But they're surprised that she's revealed to everyone that she's pregnant. I love it for her. She seems really happy because Maddie was the first one to get married and she really seemed smitten and in love with that man. And he seems smitten and in love with his wife and has been very supportive of her. So I love it for them. It was then revealed that the baby is due on the day that Garrison passed away. And Janelle was saying, I really love this because this is going to turn a sad memory into a happy memory day for me. And so I love it. I love it. It could be Garrison, is the one who's decided to give his family someone to sort of help them ease through the pain. We then have Kody and Robyn moving into their new house. They said, it's big enough for them and the rest of the family if they want to come over. They're leaving the pain and the hard times behind. Do I think so? No. I think Kody just likes to hear himself speak. And I think he's going to say whatever he thinks the public want to hear from him. Because at the moment, he and his wife are on a reinvention tour. They know that fans of the family don't like them and fans are trying to push for them to be sort of removed from the show. That's the impression that I get. Do I think that house is worth it? I don't think so. I don't think so. And personally, I don't like the idea that Robyn came into the family with nothing, with a lot of debt. And yet she is the one who has moved from one McMansion to another, whilst the OG3 are having to make do, and still refuses to sell the land that the OG3 could benefit from, or the OG2. They have that big house. If they weren't being selfish, I've said this before, I'll say this again, they could have given Mary and Janelle Coyote Pass and allowed them to sell it and benefit from that. But the idea and the audacity that, these two women could stand to benefit from that lot, they don't want, and this is why they were holding on to it for as long as possible without selling it. But I can't wait to see what happens once they sell it. I hope Mary's able to move on and do other things with her share of the money, and the same for Janelle. I'm hoping that she's able to sort of have her dream come true on the land that she's bought in North Carolina. I can't wait to see what happens next. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 2. Bye everyone.